push this button here. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the new media show. Of course, my name is Todd Cochran. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Rob Greenlee. Good morning, Rob. How are you?
Good morning, Todd. Good morning, everybody that's listening to us. I know if you're on the East Coast, this is around lunchtime, but for all of us on the other end, it's morning, but
Uh,
it's our normal time. We're back to our normal time here, Todd.
yes, and it's barely time for breakfast here, so
Yeah, you're still just waking up, right? Yes.
yeah, this morning was a little rough too. We had a little bit of a, how should we say, vivations last night with some friends, and yeah, morning comes short this morning. But anyway, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. Another week in podcasting has elapsed. And I it just seems, Rob, that the uh, the money, some money came in the space last year that was just reported this week, but
Yeah.
some Chinese company that I've never heard of, to be honest with you, got $16 million. So I was just like, who? Who is this? And they do some sort of audio indexing, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting why all of a sudden we're seeing all this venture capital investment in the space right now. I wouldn't have logically thought that necessarily that we would see that right now. So, I mean, I guess in some ways the venture capitalists follow um, what they see as trends and and growth. I know venture capitalists love growth. That's what that's basically what they're transacting is buying into growth patterns. Um, I just not sure that I necessarily see the massive growth that the typical VC would look for in this space. I don't know, Todd. Is that yeah, has that crossed your mind at all?
Well, there's two types of venture capitalists. There's those that get in early on a hedge that
Yeah.
something's gonna, do a 5 to 10 return or more, and they're gonna have an IPO, and they're gonna get a huge return. And then there's the second stage investors that come in
Yeah.
with companies that are, 1.5 to $5 million in gross annual revenue,
Hmm.
and then they come in and see that, okay, you've established a business, you're now well on your way. So I think we've had what appears to me is a little mix of that. I think we've had some early stuff and some
Yeah.
mid investments.
Mid stuff. Yeah.
And the mid stuff is not as onerous on terms typically. Usually you're actually
Hmm.
truly getting a partner and resources and
Hmm.
um, connections. Well, you do that in any time a VC invests in you, but there's different expectations set to both investment rounds. So they all want to make money for sure, but a little more pressure in round one versus round two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're coming in looking to invest in a company that's already got 4 to 5 million in revenue, um, they probably should be somewhat, maybe close to profitable by then. I don't know. I mean, it just, and do you really need that kind of investment? And
Well,
I guess it depends on what your goals are. I mean,
i-
it depends on what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, I guess.
if you're self-funded like a company like mine, you don't get to $4 to $5 million worth of revenue without being profitable. you don't
Exactly.
you
That
don't
is true.
you don't
No, I
make
mean, that's the question, right?
yeah you don't make it that far. So
I mean, this whole midpoint investment that we're seeing right now, I just wonder if why these companies actually need that.
right.
Is it because they want to grow bigger faster? If they have
Mm,
more money, they can hire more and they can spend more money. Is that
yeah.
the goal here, or is it to actually build a sustainable business? Because oftentimes, big investment like this can take a company off in an unhealthy direction.
Mm-hmm. And to be
Yeah.
honest, if somebody was to come to me and say, here, we'd like to put some money in your company, um, I'd have to, I've got a plan on what I would do with that cash, but I would, there'd have to be some very serious planning because, if someone comes in and drops $2 million in your bank account, you can burn that up in a hurry. So you have to spend it very, very wisely and get the maximum return you can. And that type of a check being written can make people stupid if they're not careful. And then again,
Yeah.
if you've already been doing it on your own and you're already profitable and you really, yeah, maybe you can do stuff faster. Um, you have to be
Well,
real
that may
careful.
may or may not be the case. That may or may not be the case. I know SoundCloud is a little bit of an example of this. I think
Oh, well, they just burn, burn, burn.
well, it's because they got a bunch of money and they felt like we can live high on the hog. We
Yeah,
can do all sorts of stuff. And they were playing that Hollywood game and trying to attract all of the artists and the influencers and all this stuff. And that's an expensive game.
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
And they got themselves into a pickle because they got expensive offices and they got expensive stuff. I think that the companies that are successful these days are virtual companies, ones that are able to leverage the best talent across the globe and keep their costs down,
Well,
not have offices.
this is my office.
Yeah,
Literally.
exactly. It's same with me. This is my
This is
office too.
right here is where I work. you know.
And if you look at yeah, even Lipson or whatever, I mean, they're sure that they have an office back in Pittsburgh, but a lot of their staff is dispersed. It's not like what typically is done, and those are the companies that are more successful, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Hi
but
Eileen in the chat room. Thomas, welcome. Yeah, it is an interesting dynamic because just like when we went shopping for money and when we were first starting, everyone told us you got to move to Silicon Valley, you got to set up shop here, you got to open an office.
yeah,
They,
and that could be bad for your business.
yeah, and that was the last thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to move to Silicon Valley. You know,
Yeah,
we'd been gone a long time ago. We wouldn't have survived. Not under that kind of
yeah.
pressure. We've talked about that many times. So, um, I was on the phone yesterday with someone that we're recruiting, I guess, for a better word, or have interest in, and we're talking about the company and where we're at and what we're doing, and how the business is shaping up and where we project to go, and the dance you're doing when you're kind of looking for someone that may be a little more high profile, and it's always interesting to have a conversation with someone on that really is not 100% attuned to where you're at as a company and dollar wise. So for me, I think we're starting to see, well, at least us, as we're starting to look for candidates for different positions. I can be a lot more picky now, and get who exactly I want too. So, I think,
Hmm.
and I don't have to worry about where they're at because we've built the company virtually to begin with anyway. Even though we've got an office in Columbus, I don't have to have that person in Columbus.
Yeah, I mean, these days, if you have a fast internet connection, you pretty much work anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, there's really no reason why. You're limited based on where you can get really fast internet, though.
And some people though are more
But that's
attuned to
it.
being able to work from home than others. There's some folks that, they
Just can't do it.
yeah, it's too much of a distraction, and it's better to be in the office setting. I like it both ways. I like to be able to be in the office and
Hmm.
get that instant interaction, and then I also like working independently too.
Yeah, I mean, I've done both for significant chunks of time. Being in a big office at a big corporation to working from home.
Yeah,
I've done both. I'd say half of my career has been working in the office, and half of it's been working from home. So I mean, it is two different things. I find that I can concentrate a lot more working from home than I can in the office because sometimes the office can be a
yeah,
huge distraction too
yeah,
because you get all those people around you that all want to
yep,
stop by and talk for 5 minutes, and you're always
yep,
getting pulled away.
yep. So
So
me, and I can definitely get 8 hours work done in about 4 hours at home versus, so yeah, exactly. 'Cause you're right, you're head down and you're cranking it out. So,
But uh, but if you're working in a home environment that has multiple children and your
oh,
wife is there
yeah,
and, there's and you're working in kind of a common area of the
yeah,
house,
yeah,
that can be
yeah,
a problem.
yeah.
Um, that's why you kind of have to isolate yourself.
I've got college students,
So
and
anyway,
then they usually don't want to talk to me anyway. So that's, you know,
talk to the old guy, right?
yeah, you go to the room and say hello, and they barely lift their head to acknowledge you, let alone wanting to have a conversation, and they usually grunt instead of answering yes or no, or yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's just that generation overall, Todd. It's
right.
okay. I
No,
mean,
it's
yeah,
that's
I see it too.
Rob. Come on, that's the way we were. Come on, parents
I
would come
know.
in, you
That's right.
roll your eyes like, oh my God, please leave me alone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Let me listen
exactly.
to my
Yeah.
music or talk to my friends. Of course, in that days, I had the phone cord stretched around the corner in the room, and they came looking for the phone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It was the battle over the phone, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
none of that anymore. But so
No.
anyway, enough on just chitter, this general chitter chatter. But I guess going back to the money thing, it's yeah, I'm excited to see the money. But as we said on the last show, those shows are now tick tock, tick tock. You're under the clock. So they they have to make some stuff happen. And, really 36 months from now, we will know if they were successful or not. Because typically you know, that's the fuse has been lit. It's on a 36-month timer.
And I'm honestly, I just don't think that the space is going to be that much different in 36 months. I think I mean, we're on this growth trajectory that's like steady and regular
Yeah.
and plodding. It's not like this fast growth that I think everybody's counting on.
I think there's
Um,
different types of growth though. There's content growth. It's
yeah.
pretty, I think
Oh,
that there's
well,
a,
that's fast right now. I
yeah,
agree.
it's fast.
Yeah.
Um,
But is but it feels like there's kind of somewhat of a maybe a limit to that. I don't know.
I don't,
I'm I,
it was
I'm
part of
still
the,
trying to figure that out.
yeah, it was part of the
Yeah.
discussion I was having yesterday with someone. I'm like, I'm looking at, you look at what Gimlet and Panoply and Wondery and all those folks are doing, and you say, okay, what capacity do they have to crank out 100,000 listener shows? What capacity do they have? How many more can they add? And yeah, I think they can add some, um, but the mainstay content of the independent contesters is going to continue to rule. But I'm looking at it from where's the money, where's the ad dollars going to be spent? And I don't want to get into an ad discussion, but you're trying to think,
Yeah.
are they going to be able to stay ahead of the ad growth? And if they do, will less money roll down into to the independent tier?
Yeah.
It's a good question. So I think it's something worth watching. But everything I keep seeing shows more and more and more and more money coming into the space as far as
Well, that
advertising
and
goes.
I mean, if I was putting on my VC hat and also looking at all the companies that are getting all these multi-millions of dollars of investment, it does kind of make you wonder whether or not the game that the VCs typically look at is a game of somewhat of scarcity, right? So what I mean by that is that, and Todd, I think we've mentioned this a little bit on the show, is that the companies that are getting a lot of investment are either on the platform side or on the content side, and but that's not surprising. That's where this game is being played, but it does kind of make you think that the big are going to get bigger, right? And that's what all these investors are counting on, is that the the content that's big today will continue to get bigger in the future. And but my comment or my worry on this is is that really true? I mean, are the big going to continue to get bigger at a faster rate? Because there's a lot of like you said earlier, Todd, there's a lot of pressure on these companies to grow big and wide fast with with those type of investment numbers. And I just don't know if there's enough capacity out there of listeners yet to support a fast growth of a lot of really big shows. If you look at the 80/20 rule, right, which typically falls into place on a regular basis, but I think in this medium, it's like 95 or 5 to 95. Only
Right.
5% of the market is actually at the scale that I think these VCs want to play in.
I would
I think
even
that's the scale.
I
Yeah.
would even think 97.3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the
I
full
mean, is
scale.
there enough room here, or can we grow the number of shows that are getting 100,000 listens in the future?
Well,
I guess that
you
that
alluded to
depends
it.
on pulling audience. Yeah.
You alluded to it. The audiences can't be 250,000. The audiences need to be 1,500,000. That's
Yeah.
what, you need to grow it there and sideways. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see, you know.
More of, I mean, more of the million fives than more of the
Right.
100,000s, right?
Because,
That's the game that the VCs are playing.
yeah, I look at the biggest shows and look at their numbers, and some of them do top out. They've got fantastic numbers, but I don't think we've got a million. I don't think there's, if there is, I don't know about it. I don't think there's a million. Well, the one-off serials. Let's not count them. But I don't think there is a consistent. Let's not take it to a million. Let's take it to 600,000. I
Yeah.
don't think there is a very, if there is, it's a small handful of shows that are doing 600,000 to 750,000 listeners per episode. I don't think there's any million listener shows. I don't think there is.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple that have bursted to that level,
Bursted.
but then they've
Right.
gone back down again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they burst to that, and then but there's nothing that's consistent. That's a weekly show or twice weekly show that's hitting those type of numbers. So I mean that's where they have to go. And you start talking those kinds of, whew, man, you get a million. There could be some very rich podcasters. You hit a million listeners. That's some, especially in the
Hmm.
the model that we have today, where there are very few middlemen. That's some serious real cash for a content creator. I mean, that's like whoa money.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Sure. No, it can be, and I think that's another thing that's driving this is that if you can get a show that big, the question I keep asking is that I don't see an effort on the part of this medium to drive audience growth more broadly. And actually, this topic came up a little bit this week.
Yeah,
I got a I got an email um,
from Seth.
from Seth asking us to contribute our thoughts on the problem of podcast discovery.
Yeah.
There's such a big problem with podcast discovery. So,
All right. Now,
so I know Todd.
you're being.
Yeah.
Did your eyeballs roll? I didn't hear quite enough sarcasm there.
No, I didn't. I was being nice about it because Seth's a good guy and everything, and it's not his fault. I think it's a good question again to ask, right? Because there's a lot of people that think that there's a discovery problem in podcasting. Um, I think it's the wrong question to ask. Actually, it's not. I think it's that comes from, and Todd, we both said it. That comes from an individual show host or a bunch of shows that have said, "I'm not growing as fast as I want to grow," so there must be a discovery problem. Right?
Well, you know,
Do you agree with that?
you already know my answer. Yes, of course.
Well, I want to complete the thought here, but um,
It's well, and it goes deeper too because you have,
yeah,
yeah, it's you can't. And boy, I tell you, I get hated on a lot by this, but you can't just have a podcast. There has to
Yeah.
be more. You have to do
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I see what you're saying.
and there's about
Yeah.
10 things. You know, it really there's a bunch of stuff you've got to do.
Todd, a clear analogy here is a symphony, right?
Yep.
Symphony is a bunch of instruments, right, that can
Mm-hmm.
be used to create a beautiful thing, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, and this concept of synergy has been around marketing for years and years, and it's a symphony of medium, right? To You set a goal and you have to create a symphony of different mediums to promote whatever brand or product that you're selling. And I think this applies to podcasting as well, because there are people that like to watch
Mm-hmm.
things, there are people like to listen to things, and people like to read things, right?
Oh, words right out of my mouth. Did I clone you?
I Yeah, yeah, you've hammered this into my head for like the last 10 years, Todd. So, no, but I agree. I'm a marketing guy at my core. So these are principles that I've lived by for years. I learned about it. I did marketing 101, which is you have to have a synergized strategy across multi-mediums if you want to achieve a brand success. It's
So,
just it's a core principle.
so what we need to do is, and I know not all podcasters are worried. Well, every podcaster is worried about their numbers, but let's just take a step back and the people that are, let's use, and don't, I'm, no bullets, please. The folks that are whining, and I'm using the word whining uh, in the most visceral terms. What are you doing? What are you doing now to build your show? If you are complaining about your numbers, what are you doing? Are you, you know, that's the question. Are you just doing a show? And if you are, then you need to really look at the bigger spectrum of what you need to build. I don't know. I'm really stuck on this presentation I gave at both the Podcast Movement and at during International Podcast Day, and there's a YouTube video, and I'll put it in the show notes. I really have got this. Personally, I came up with my own formula, and we've talked about it many times on this show, but it's um it's hard, but it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of reward if you make it happen. Now, you don't have to build 150 or 80 or 60,000 size audience to be successful in podcasting. I think anyone that's reaching an audience bigger than their bosses are probably being very successful in podcasting. But, it also depends on what you want out of it. You want the satisfaction of
Yeah.
being able to share a story, um, make a
Yeah.
car
What's the
payment.
goal?
Yeah, what's the goal?
Yeah.
If your goal is to have a big show, you got to have a big plan. And, let's be honest, I was just like everyone else. I was, and Rob, you've got a little edge on folks because you were in radio, but you didn't start in radio. You had to learn your chops But I go back to day one with me. I worked on airplanes. I was an electronics technician in the United States Navy. I had a blog,
Yeah.
and I went across the street to Walmart and picked up a little lab tech plastic microphone, one of the worst microphones you could ever use in the whole planet, and recorded a show. I had no clue what that guy was doing. I played AC/DC Back in Black as the opening, 3-minute entree into the show. you know, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
right.
yeah, let's
Bring
do
some
it.
energy to the program,
Yeah,
Todd.
let's get this kicked off like the rock and roll show. It's like,
It's awesome. Hey, back when we started this, it definitely helped to be a geek, and you were definitely a geek. This was a geeky game when this medium started.
yeah, but
You had to be fairly technical. You had to be fairly technical to
none
do
of
it.
us could talk. I still can't talk with the mic. I still destroy. I get emails every show. In the current, as an example, the current theme, the current comment that's making rounds on my show is my pronunciation of a logarithm.
Todd, there's a few other words that have come up over the years.
Yes, of course, but that's the latest one. That's the latest one they're having fun with. I don't. I'm a. Let's be honest, Rob. I was a country boy. I grew up in the country.
Yeah,
My dad had
that's
bulldozers, backhoes, and cranes. My grandfather's a cash crop farmer. I graduated high school at 110 pounds, and it wasn't because I didn't eat very much, because I worked like a dog and had
woof
nothing.
woof.
We had nothing. We worked. My mom had to work to put shoes on us. So there was
It's
nothing
okay.
special here, right?
Hey, as long as they're talking about you, that's a good thing, Todd.
But so what did we all started? Most of us as podcasters started just because we were passionate about something, and wanted to get it off our
Yeah,
chests.
yeah.
Uh,
No, no, we all crave attention, Todd. Let's be honest about it.
ah, I don't think so. I think a lot of
Really?
podcasts. I don't think so. I
Okay.
think a lot of podcasters do their shows. It's when my dad died, my mom and I did a show together, and it wasn't long lived, but we did a show about her in my morning and recovery and steps afterwards, and who's going to mow the yard, and where was the gas can put for the lawnmower, all that stupid stuff that people go through when they lose a loved one. So it was therapy. So a lot of
Yeah,
a lot of
that's true.
people a lot of people do shows for therapy. A lot of people do shows. It's the reasons are. Oh, I don't care what the reason is.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, Todd, I think you tapped into a very interesting topic that I reinforce out there as well. Is that uh, you need to do the show for you first, um, and and then evolve the show into something that's maybe more appealing to your audience.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, do the show that you, the host, want to do,
Yep.
because that's the only way you're going to keep it up.
It's like this. This latest trip. I missed 3 episodes of my regular show. Um, I don't recommend you do that if you're new in podcasting. If you are brand new, you can't miss a show. That's just, but at 13 years, and by the way, I'm past 13 years now,
Yeah.
um, to keep my sanity and to sometimes you got to step away from the mic, and not a long time, but that 3 episode break for me was, probably agonizing for some of the audience, but for me, it was battery recharge time.
Yeah.
And but I do a twice weekly show. I'm bam 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 bam. I'm in there twice a week. So um,
Yeah.
it's a big commit.
Yeah, it is. Well, and you do a lot of show prep for that show too, so
Well, I'm gonna
it's
tell you what,
it's time consuming.
the guy that I've hired that oh my God, it's godsend. Kirk, he is the producer of Geek News Central now. Man, lifesaver. I mean, really, it's helping the show a lot. So I'm now, having
That's
help
good.
with show prep.
Oh, that's good, Todd.
Yeah, that I never
Yeah,
did.
I know you've got a lot on your plate, and you always
Yeah,
have.
always. It's
I've
too.
always been really impressed by
It's too.
your your ability to multitask.
Well, saturation is here, right? I'm sucking water down my
Yeah.
nostrils right now. And it's
Yeah.
so it's at some point I'm just gonna have to hire some more people, and offload some of this,
Yeah.
crap that's, and I shouldn't say crap, but the grind stuff that
Yeah.
that's the way it
It comes
works, right?
along with this.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
the way it is. But I think every podcaster is going to have to. I hear a lot of people got out of the gate that have producers that help them produce their show from the very beginning. If you can financially afford to do that, congratulations. But I think there is well, let me back up. So what I was hesitant in doing in hiring someone to help me with show prep is I wanted to make sure that the show would not lose my voice. I didn't
Yeah.
want the show to become Kirk's voice. So
Yeah.
when I hired Kirk to do show prep and help find stuff for me, I for about the first 2 or 3 months, I was going through and doing my own show prep right behind him. And I found that he was hitting about 90% of the stuff that I would have hit. And then he was adding some stuff that I didn't want. So between the two of us, over a period of a couple of months, he saw what I wasn't covering that he was recommending, and he saw what I wanted that he didn't pick. And slowly we have meshed to the point now where when he does show prep and I come in behind and I still look, I still spend 30 minutes going through the same stack he did. I'm onesie twosies now. So we are really meshed up. And if you can find a show producer or someone to help you with the show that allows you to build that mesh so you don't lose your voice, I think that
Yeah.
you wrap your arms around that person, you hold on tight. You don't let them go,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
pray they don't get tired and want to go. So for me, it took me 13 years or 12.9 years or so to make that jump. But really, what it was life was and business and everything was impacting. I felt the show prep and show quality. So he's basically giving me an extra hour to get the show ready now.
Yeah. That's great. That's great to have that help.
But so if you can afford it as a podcaster to have some help, great. But I still think that there is in the beginning, I think everyone should have to do everything on their own. I think that's part of it. It's part of this process of learning the
Well, you can't.
skill.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't know how to improve unless you know every step in the process
Yeah.
and start wrapping your head around the pain points, and then you can start really tweaking and improving. And that's why, Todd, both you and I say this too: is that don't bank a bunch of episodes
No.
um,
'Cause
before you launch a show. Just create one episode, do it, learn from it, do the second one, learn from it, but don't bank like 5 episodes
you
in
lock
advance
yourself
because you're not going to
in.
learn anything. You're
No.
not going to learn anything.
I agree, and I know every guru says launch with 3 programs or 5 or have 10
Yeah,
in the. It drives me crazy. I am not, absolutely
yeah,
not a proponent of that. And
yeah.
it's because, be honest with you, when I started episode 1, by the
So
time I got to episode 7 or 8, the show changed.
yeah,
I made tweaks immediately,
Prob-
immediate tweaks.
yep. Yeah, I did the same thing. I didn't bank a bunch of stuff. I've never done that actually in the all the years that I've been doing this.
And now it's like a
So
battle rhythm. Now I know, where the sequence, the audience knows the sequence. If those that want to fast forward past the ad, or they want to fast forward the personal stuff and get in the news, or if they want to just only listen to the personal stuff and kick the news. I have people that listen to the first 15 minutes of the show and that's it. They don't listen to the news. They just tune in for the 15 minutes of chatter at the beginning. So it's a weird, So it's not
like you
weird. It
say,
it
as
is
long
what
as
it
they're
is.
tuning in, yeah, it is. It's not weird.
Yeah.
It's what that individual listener likes, and they're going to come in and extract what they like. I guess they're
Yeah.
going to listen to a certain point. But I do want to talk a little bit about this. I wanted to back up a little bit.
Sure.
I'm looking at this article in VentureBeat talking about the investment in Castbox.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
Yep. The Chinese company. Yep.
Yeah, and this is a common thread that's been around. Let me set the stage a little bit, and I think we've talked about it a little bit in the past
But
on
by
the
the way,
show.
they
But
got the investment last year. This isn't a new
it's a
investment.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff.
Sure.
This whole concept of audio search
Hmm.
or search in audio has been done before. Let's just set the stage. This is not something, if you've been around the space as long as I have, even before the space, some of this stuff was attempted even before podcasting started. So some of this stuff is so old in concept, and I see it like every 8 years or so, there's a rash of companies that try and do the same thing. Maybe it's different today. And what I'm talking about is in content search, so in audio search. So this concept of having a a kind of like a voice to text type of translation of all audio content, and then using that as a basis to index the content, right? Or to enable segment listening. Um, this has been tried many times in the past, and honestly, the listener base just doesn't care about this stuff.
Right.
It's a cool thing. They're trying to solve this content discovery problem. They think that if they index every word that's spoken in every podcast and transcribe it into text and then make it a part of a server solution to get people to go in. Okay, so let's say a person with this show uh, goes in and types SoundCloud
Yep.
into the new media show, right?
Sure.
uh, that will take them to every episode or every segment that we've ever used the term SoundCloud. And do my question is, do listeners care about doing something like that? The proof is over the many years that this has been tried, there's been companies that have launched and failed. I've seen it happen repeatedly, doing the exact same thing that these guys are doing. And it doesn't work because nobody likes to actually do it. Are they doing any research on what users want, or are they just doing something because they think it's cool and they've got the technology and they think this is going to be the magic solution? Todd, I mean, what's your thought on this stuff?
Well, I was trying to find the website, and I've got it. So let's try something. So here's
Okay.
my. I think I would just be a broken record, and
Yeah.
on repeat. So let's look at Castbox in audio search on the website. Oh, guess what? You can't do it unless you have their app.
Of course. Todd, we live in an app world.
Oh, okay. Um, are you all right? All right. Strike one. Number two. Let's take a site that does have some search results, and it's called Fluid Data. Never heard of them until we heard about Castbox. So let's
Yeah.
search for the word new. Okay, well, what's a search we podcast advertising? Let's do that. That's a word we use all the time in this show. Let's see what we find in their search results. Bloomberg Markets, something with Governor John Cash, return on investment, podcast monetization, podcast school podcasting. Okay, nothing from us. So let's try another one. Let's try a new media show. New media, because I feel like I'm searching for shows, not content.
Yeah.
All right, so we do find new media show. We find talking with people talking on the round table, me talking about the show. Yeah, a lot of our stuff is was talked about. So this might be a vanity thing. So let's search for Rob Greenlee.
Yeah, there you go.
So we'll search for
That
Rob.
that may be the only real use for this
Oh,
is for vanity
sorry,
searches.
no results found for Rob Greenlee. So let's search for Todd Cochran, because this is what I'm gonna look. Who's talking about me? Oh, so there's a show I was interviewed on, a bunch of tech podcast stuff. Another show I was interviewed on. What else? Let me go here. So,
Yeah.
uh,
What? Where's the value here? I don't.
all
I
right.
don't
So,
really see
so
it.
let's look for something on SoundCloud. Let's look for um, what's something we can talk about on SoundCloud. Let's just do SoundCloud. Sorry, no results found for SoundCloud. And how many? Oh my God. This this is supposed to have collections about words that have been indexed in podcasts, and SoundCloud is okay. So let's try. Of course,
Try.
spelling is the issue. Let's try Libsyn. Nothing for
Yeah.
Libsyn. Let's try Blueberry. Bluebry. Nothing for Blueberry. Let me try Blueberry the fruit. Oh, looky there. The benefits of acai berries. The beerist. I don't think the beerist. Maybe the beerist was talking about blueberry beer or something. I don't know.
I suppose possible.
So there's a few things here. Talk of the towns. And people talking about
Well,
blue.
there's lots of
Yeah.
places where they talk about blueberries on that one, huh?
All right. And so yeah, I think that it would be cool. Let's be frank. It'd be cool to be able to have a search engine that I would be able to search for my name or your name or our competitor's name or whatever, and look and see what every podcaster is talking about us. Now that's how I would use it. That's
Yeah,
that. It'd be an
yeah,
intelligence collecting thing, or for research. So maybe, but I'm not going to use it for discovery of a new show personally.
yeah. So who's the audience for using this kind of tool? It's never been one that everyday listeners to podcasts, because this is not what they're listening to podcasts for.
No,
They're listening because it's a personal connection with a show and a topic,
that's right.
and this is as impersonal as it gets.
I've got my
This
phone
is
here, the
like
mic here. Go ahead.
it just doesn't work.
I was going to,
And
and I can't get my phone far enough away to keep it from making a noise here.
oh
I wanted
yeah.
to, I wanted to download the Castbox app and then search in it and see what it come up with if I can do that. So it'll load here over the next minute or so. But uh, yeah, they got 16 million, Rob. 16.
It's all going to be for it's all wasted.
Of a company
uh,
that's been launched for a year that we've never heard about.
yeah,
Never
yeah.
heard about them.
It's a skunk work project, Todd. You're
But
not supposed
no,
to know about it.
no, 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 no. They've been public. This is not. There's nothing new, and yet they have a search engine for podcasters. Let me go to their blog. And
Yeah.
maybe they haven't been launched this long, but let me go back to 17. Yeah, they're back in talking about this back in October of last year.
Oh, Todd, on this very same topic with Castbox here, it says Castbox has taken so long to announce this raise, suggests that it may be jumping in on the Me Too bandwagon given all of the other recent funding announcements. But it insists that it has simply been too busy working on its product to focus on PR.
Okay, first thing you do with an app is when they ask you to log in, you can't even do anything without logging in.
Yeah, yeah.
Eh,
Well,
Strike
that's
two.
not.
Oh, log in later. It does allow me to log in later. All right. All right, discover. Okay, let me search.
Oh,
I don't, oh, of course, what do they put in here? A lot of, no, let me go ahead and search my name and see what it finds. They say they have 96% accuracy.
Todd, also, so this type of thing is not a business. Let me just say this is a feature.
Right,
This
it
is
is a
not a
feature. This
business.
would go
It is
good
a
on,
feature. It's not a business.
yeah, this would be a good
Uh,
feature for the Explore page on blueberry.com. Yeah,
or for Apple's
right.
app or
Yeah,
something like that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Apple doesn't even think it's important to do this kind of thing, and they've been involved in this space for a long time because people will type in a keyword. Let's say they're interested in golf, right?
Yep.
Okay. They will type in the word golf and they will find all the podcasts that talk about golf. That's what listeners really want. That's
Right.
all they want.
Yeah.
They don't want to do this other stuff. Just like you said, Todd, this is a solution searching for a market that really is like maybe 2% or 1% of the
So
of the listener
I
base.
will use this as an intelligence tool. Thank you,
Exactly.
Castbox, for your $16
Yeah.
million investment in technology so I can go and search for people that are talking about me and find out what they're saying or what they're saying about Blueberry or Raw Voice or and if I really want to get, down the dirt, find out what people are saying negatively about us as well, so,
Yeah.
you know,
So that's the real benefit of that. But
right.
is that worth a $16 million investment? I don't really know. And
If I had this, I would charge for this as an intelligence collection
tool,
tool.
tool, yes. And but the question gets really back to is are they going to see a return on that investment? If they're thinking that these tools are for public usage and that it's going to be a separate app, nobody's going to download it.
Well, they definitely are not even. I never heard of Fluid Data. Never heard of them. I mean,
Yeah,
and that was because someone said it in the Pod to Pod Slack channel. I'm like, who are they? And they said, oh, well, Fluid
yeah.
Data is better. And I went over there and looked, and again, and so it says get. So here's the kicker. These guys are smart at Fluid Data. If their search engine works, which right now, based upon just a couple of, which wait a minute, wrong box. Um, based upon just a few searches, it wasn't that impressive. But they have this thing up here. It says get Fluid Data. So, I said, oh, we got an API in this thing. All right. I don't want to build a spoken word engine, but it would be a great feature for Blueberry.com. So I clicked on this, get Fluid Data, and
Well,
guess it takes me
well,
to a
Todd,
contact page.
that might actually be what the goal is here. Let's just create some technology and sell it.
Well,
You know,
sell it as a
maybe
service.
well, no, maybe what this is a startup that was created to
Oh, maybe.
potentially sell to like
Yeah.
Google or Apple or somebody.
Or
It's a technology.
if I want our directory indexed, and I want to have the ability to allow people to search on the website using a mix of content search and content search, I, I would probably pay Fluid Data, if it works, a nice monthly fee to have let them take care of all the headache of indexing, and I'll just pay the fee to get access to the API. That's
Yeah.
and but that's just me. How many of those? How many clients? How many Todd clients is there for Fluid Data? There's one from Libsyn. There's one from Spreaker. There's one from Blueberry. Let's see, 4 or 5 of us that may go over there and get an API account so our content can be searched.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
does
and
that
what's the cost of actually generating that data too?
and can you survive on corporate clients?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. So. But, based
Yeah.
on the initial searches, I'm not impressed because I searched for my name and it should have at least popped up my shows because or this show because what do? We introduce ourselves at the very beginning of the show. And,
Well, oftentimes, Todd, if you think about it, we don't oftentimes say our full names either.
that's true too.
So I think we just say Todd and Rob. We don't. So if they're solely relying on audio content as their source of data for indexing,
Yeah.
then that may be where they're going sideways on this. They they need to tap into the textual metadata as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, and this goes back to talking about transcripts. Some shows are big on transcripts. And I'm of the contention that transcripts done incorrectly. again, I've talked about this a dozen times on this show. Anyway, it's been here for 50 episodes. I've heard it 5 times already. Transcripts
Yeah.
can hurt your Google ranking if you don't do it right. And most
Yeah.
folks don't do it right.
Yep.
And it is so.
It is what it is.
hmm But 16 million, I'm just like, I
Jeez.
would like to see the deck that they used to get that money. I'm doing
That's
something.
that's a.
It's just
You
wow.
doing something wrong, Todd?
I'm thinking. uh, You know what I really want to say? I want to say WTF. Where? How come they're not talking to me?
Todd, are you having a little bit of a complex here? It's
No,
like
I'm
they're not
just,
thinking about me.
no, I'm just kind of like, it's bizarre to me. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not. Maybe they say, okay, they're established, or you know, if they've done the research, they don't need no money. So, and again, I'm
Maybe
not looking
that's
for
okay.
money. Yeah, but 16 men, there's something we're missing. Because the VCs are not stupid, are they?
Probably not. No.
You know,
I would hope not.
most of them have had successful businesses and or maybe gotten lucky with a business. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They most VCs have had a couple companies. That's how they get money to buy into the fund. So I don't know. It seems crazy to me. It really, really does. And there's a lot of articles that are popping up that are the best microphone for streaming and podcasting. And number one, the best microphone, the Blue Yeti. I love Blue. This is the Blue Mouse. But I'm sorry, the best microphone for streaming and podcasting absolutely is not the Blue Yeti. As much as I don't care for the ATR 2100, it's not even in this list. And it's huge.
Yeah.
Podcasters love that mic.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's cheap, it's versatile, and it's got decent sound.
I used it on last
That's all you
week's.
need.
I used it on last week's show. I'm begrudgingly saying that.
Yeah.
You know,
I know.
so
I know.
you're right. It's cheap, has great sound. Oh, I can't believe I just said that.
I own 3 of them myself, so I I'm a believer.
I've got
I'm
one in a go bag, and they lifetime warranty them. But so uh, okay, opinions are like I can't say it. Opinions are like beep. Everyone has one. So Josh that wrote this. Don't take this the wrong way, but come on, dude. The did Blue pay you for this? And I love the Blue team. And if they're listening, I love you guys, Hillary and all everyone over there. Um, but it's a good microphone for podcasting. It is not the best. So
yeah. Yeah.
um,
That would not have been my first choice.
no.
No.
So and then there was an article I had to kind of bust on. Let's see if I can find it. The whole podcasting meme came up. Podcasts. It was basically an article on mention.com talking about podcasting the word, and I basically told the author that train is left, but he wasn't really poo-pooing the word podcasting. The article was just
Yeah.
basically thinks there's a little confusion in the space about the word, and
Boy, I'm so over that topic.
even anytime I see anything, even if the topic isn't about podcasting, shouldn't be called podcasting, and it's just a play to get you into the article. I don't even want to read the article because I'm already my like you got to be kidding me filter has went off already, and yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you've been around this space a long time. You'll feel the same way. I mean, it's because this topic has been coming up over and over and over and over again, and that train has left the station like 5 years ago.
But I will give Fred Jacobs some props. He's busting up on the radio folks a little bit, and he had an article in
Yeah.
Radio World said, "Will radio get off the dime with podcasting?" So Fred's
Yeah.
throwing down, and he doesn't take him to task too hard, but I do like he's got this. Let me show you this image,
Oh
and
yeah.
we need to have these made as
The
coins. We need to ask Fred if we can
the
steal this. Let me show it.
well, yeah, this whole meme with this coin kind of thing was started. I, I don't know if it was started by Gary Leland or not, but Gary's using this for his Bitcoin
Oh, really?
podcast stuff that he's doing.
He's he's
Yeah,
he's got something like that.
yeah, yeah.
We ought to come up. Someone that's an artist. You guys ever seen those? We call them challenge coins for us military guys. And
Yeah.
the origin of the challenge coin. I don't know if you know what the challenge is, but if you're in a bar and another military guy comes up and is talking to you, and he presents his challenge coin, and you don't have yours, guess who's buying? The person without his. So very, very few military guys that have been around the block will you go into a bar, will actually go into a bar. I mean, I went back to my hotel room and opened up my bag and pulled my challenge coin out to make sure I had a challenge coin before I went to the bar. Because if you don't, you're buying booze. Um, so, so these challenge coins, I think we ought to have someone with some artistic talents make a challenge coin. And we'll have to come up with some rules. Like if you're not podcasting, if I present my challenge coin and you're thinking about podcasting and you haven't started yet, you have to buy a round of cheer or something to that effect. I don't know. I have to come up with something stupid.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah.
I mean, these would be cool coins to give out. I think it'd just be fun. But they're not cheap to make. They're about $5 a piece. You have to order at least like 250 of them. But again, this is just a graphics design. But someone actually came up with a.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to have one here
It's a
on the.
lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to make a graphic of it than it is
Yeah.
to make the real thing.
I used to
Yeah.
have one sitting here on the desk that was kind of my fidget spinner. I would roll it around in my hand. I guess it's not on the desk anymore, so I can't show it. But anyway, so yeah. So anyway,
So did you have yeah, did you have an IAB call this week?
yes, we did, and I know
I
that.
didn't get me far enough along the line
Yeah, but I
to
think
get on that.
I think we solved that, didn't we? You sent me a message, and I got you connected with the team over there. So hopefully you're in now.
Yeah, but nothing has resulted from it yet.
Wow. Send membership an email and like
Yeah.
because we're
Yeah.
having another meeting on Monday.
Oh, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the other half, well, we got about halfway through the comments on in the public comments for the podcast measurement version 2.0 document.
Yeah.
So I was a fly on the wall. I dialed in and muted myself and listened and let Angelo and the techies go through the document.
Um, One thing that we should talk about too here before we wrap up the show this week is it was announced that Google had purchased
Oh yeah,
a podcast related app called 60dB,
that they're shutting down.
and yeah, they're shutting down the app itself, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this pattern happen before. We saw it happen with Swell. If you look back a few years, um, and you also have to look at the team here. I know Fred talks about it a little bit in his article from Jacobs Media, but I think you have to back up and you look at the big picture of this. The co-founders of this are former executives from Netflix.
Hmm.
So you got to look at it from that perspective. They're shutting down the app.
Yep.
They're bringing the team on over to Google. Google already has a team working on podcasting that exists in a different group because I've met with them.
Yep.
Um, and these guys are all about personalization. So uh, I think it's easy to jump to the conclusion that this acquisition by Google was all about podcasting. My caution on that is that may not necessarily be the case. Um, since they have a different team working on podcasting, these guys have an expertise in an area that may help Google Play music, just like with Swell. Swell built a podcast listening app, but what Google really want, or what Apple really wanted out of Swell, was the 3 machine learning PhDs that were on that team.
Hmm.
Because as you have seen, that there has not been any kind of change to the app that was related to the Swell team that happened to Apple.
Right. Right.
So that may be the exact case here. There's a lot of speculation that now, since they acquired this, that somehow Google Play Music is going to now have a short form on demand audio app. I wouldn't say that's likely at all at this point. I don't know what you think about it, Todd.
Well, I was confused because I don't know if the Skunkworks team in Seattle is actually going to build something or if they're going to suggest something. What was
They
your
are.
do you
Yeah.
think they're building or suggesting?
I think it's a little bit of both. I do think that they wanted to figure out what they wanted to do first,
Yep.
and they were clearly on the path to understanding the needs of the market. This acquisition screams of a misunderstanding of the needs of the market, um, which tells me that it may not be what it appears to be. Um, uh,
I did think it was a odd because I was trying to play through my head how because again I didn't know 100% the role of the Seattle team. I didn't know if they were just coming up with the grand master plan that they were going to go to the poobah with and say, here's what we want to do, and then have a separate dev team build
yeah,
it. If that's the case, then that fits perfect into that picture. But if the team in Seattle is going
yeah,
to grand think this and build it, then yeah, what is that other team for? So,
yeah, and from what I understand, the window of time that they had to do their research
right.
hasn't completed yet.
And
So
it's quickly narrowing.
yes, yes. So the timing of this doesn't make sense for this being all about creating a new podcast listening app.
But then again, if you have an executive that came from Netflix
Well,
and you
Google
don't
Play needs some help.
well,
So
okay, so who's going to build the iTunes for Google equivalent? Um, and well, I guess
it's
Google Play is
it's
that.
probably going to be it's going to be a combination of Google Play team probably and a new app team to develop a new app would be my guess.
Hmm.
So clearly it's going to be whatever they build is clearly going to be part of Google Play.
Right.
But they also realized that um, Google Play to this point is kind of a failure.
Oh.
So they're they're back to the drawing board on that.
Well,
So
yeah.
which
So
isn't surprising, Todd. I mean, that's not like groundbreaking
right, right, right,
information.
right, right.
Everybody knows that Google Play Music Podcast is a failure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I mean, it's
It's an
I mean,
abject
I would say it
failure.
was a smart. I thought it was a good start, good direction for them, but it just the follow through wasn't there, and
Yeah.
the team disbanded, and so now they're kind of regrouping and coming up with a new strategy. But the strategy of short form on demand programming is not the direction that this team is going towards.
Yeah.
That may be part of it,
One
but
thing's for sure
I
is the
don't think
60
that's how
dB.
they look at it.
And one thing is sure they
Yeah,
didn't acquire it for the app because the app I was trying to actually went looking for its signature to
sucks.
figure it was I mean
It's not that great.
it's like of the 130 or 140 things it's like like 127 or something like that. I mean it's like it's
Yeah,
there's like 4 or 5 people using the app.
yeah, and that is also another sign that they didn't acquire it because of the app, right?
Right, right.
Um, it's the same thing that happened to Swell. It's almost a carbon copy happened to Swell. Swell as an app was a failure as well.
Yep.
Um, and, and so, why would a company like Google buy a company app
Mm-hmm.
first of all and shut it down right away, right?
Yep.
And why would they want that team to build another app?
No.
Uh, it doesn't make sense.
If
So,
it,
what was the other purpose there?
well, who knows? And
It's an acqui-hire.
if we knew that, we'd be rich because we could make some amazing predictions.
Yeah, they. I think my personal thought is that Google bought this company because they bought the talent that was there,
Oh, it was
and
definitely
they.
an acquisition. It was a talent hire. What do they call
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
it's an acqui-hire. I think that's what
AccuHire.
they call
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, AccuHire.
Yeah. And I think all this speculation that somehow this is going to spark Google into making an app from this team
But
is,
I didn't see
I
too
just,
much. Did you see? I didn't see a lot of podcasters coming to that conclusion. I think everyone was kind of like, huh?
yeah, well, I didn't see a lot of people talking about it much at all, actually.
Yeah. It made it into a few Facebook posts, but that was it. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
heard about it otherwise.
yeah. But um, Fred is talking about it as though it's going to be a new
Oh
solution
yeah,
for Google Play.
yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah. So he didn't take it. His take on it was it wasn't for podcasting.
No, 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 no. He didn't say specific podcast, but he thought that it was
Oh,
going to be a a more aggressive approach to Google Play Music with
oh,
short form on
okay.
demand programming, which plays into the other agenda that's out there that short form audio program is the future of podcasting.
Oh yeah. Boy, short.
Yeah,
That's why a 90-minute show is never successful.
that's 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 where 90% of the advertisers spend their money is into long form programming.
Yes. Yeah, it's very hard to put two ads in a 20-minute or 6 or 7 minute programming. Ask Grammar Girl. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just want to give you a little update
So,
on something I've been experimenting with. I know they've been talking about this a little bit. Let me grab one. I got some beacons out of China, and in concept, these were 6 channel beacons. I could send 6 notifications at once. And they were perfect. I
oh
got them
wow.
up. I got them programmed, and then I went to register them with Google, and the Google app crashed every time I tried to register them with Google. So I was like, called the company. I said,
Hmm.
"Hey, we got a problem." And the lady's like, "Oh no, you have to use our app to
Wow.
configure every one of these." And I'm like, "Sweetheart, this app is going to be sitting somewhere where I cannot touch it. So, I have to be able to control the notification data from 1,000 miles away." And I get this like, this head.
Are
So,
you kidding?
yeah, I'm like, why did I think? Yeah, I told you I was going to buy 1,000 of these. Do you think I'm going to have 1,000 of these in my house or in a single business? And so they are completely their scale on. So I'm hoping they're going to issue me a software fix. Otherwise, these will go in the trash.
Are you going to return them?
And wait, not to China. No, I just call it a failed
Oh, not
experiment.
to China.
No,
Okay.
no. So these are big. Hey, look at the comparison, the two size comparison. This is the one company they've been using, but this is the size is
Why do
dramatic.
they need to be so much bigger? Have any
I
idea?
think it's just the packaging. The inside's the same, except for it'll do more channels. So,
Oh,
but here's the thing: if I enabled all 6 channels, it wouldn't be good because it'd be sending 6 messages to a phone within near it, and that's just like spamming. So I figured maybe 2 at the most. But yeah, my goal was to save some money on beacons, but
oh,
for now we'll go with the other way. But anyway, more on beacons later. Ryan is
oh.
Ryan Gray's got some beacons deployed at a conference this weekend, 10. So I'm looking forward to seeing his report on how it went.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
that'd be
anyway,
good.
yeah, a lot of fun. All right, what else in the stock? Let me
What
look.
else is going on?
It's a lot of just standard articles. I didn't see too much otherwise news-wise or acquisitions or anything like that. A lot of people doing articles on how small companies should have their own podcasts. It's, a lot of the same. There's an event coming up in Phoenix, though, that's being run by Chuck Tomasi. Do you remember Chuck?
I do. Yeah.
And I was trying to see if I could find a date for that. It's in the next week or so. So it's a 1 day training session down there. Events. Da, 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 da. There it is. Can I find it? Yeah. Anyway, I'll see if I can find it and put in the show notes. If you're in Phoenix, that's an event, podcaster event. Then, of course, FinCon is coming up. And then the NAB New York is next week. So Angela will be in New York City Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, and
Oh,
Friday.
okay.
So if anyone is in NYC and want to hook up with Angelo, just give me a holler and I'll see if he has time in his schedule. So I'm kind of excited for him. He gets to do what I usually do in New York. He gets to go meet with all our clients and I'm saying you're going to New York for NEV to be on a 1 hour panel. I've got some work for you. So
Todd, Todd, are you going to PodCon?
I
I
think
can't remember.
I think I am. Yes,
You are.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I am. That date is what, December
9th and 10th.
9th and 10th. Yeah, I'm feeling my schedule is going to allow that. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll probably fly in. uh, Maybe the morning of the 9th. I don't know. I have to look at. I think there's a direct flight out of here to Seattle, and then yeah, I'll probably come back on Monday. But I don't know. I'll look at my schedule. But for sure, I'll
Okay.
be there. I don't know when I'm going to get in and get out. That's the thing that sucks about being in Hawaii is it's just no easy time to fly. Where I don't burn a couple extra days. I can't be like you and get on an airplane in the morning and have a meeting in LA in the afternoon and fly home. That just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, it's a long flight for you flying
Yeah.
over here.
So the question then, Rob, is we haven't found out anything. What's new with the merger? How's the merger going? Any good things to share? Any juicy stuff?
Well,
Oh,
juicy
oh,
stuff.
oh, I
Um,
saw something. What did I see? Oh, I tweeted it. It was funny. You got called. Oh, go ahead. Tell me what's going on, and I'll find it.
oh, I think you're talking about the Star Wars, right?
Yeah,
That,
yeah. That was
that popped
classic.
up on Twitter. Yes,
Yeah,
with the Pod Vader.
yeah.
Yes.
So
So
so what is
so
happening?
anyway, what's going on? Well, we're just actually it's all official now. We're all a merged company. Francesco's taken charge of the company, and he's leading both teams right now. So
Wow.
we're that's fairly recent that really happened officially. So there's been some changes to the staffing and the organization. So there's a different CTO, and certain people on the Block Talk Radio side are not with the company anymore.
Oh, oh,
So
ouch.
there's other things happening. So Francesco is making it happen. So we're blending things together and pulling teams together, and people are working together. We're doing all joint calls now. So things are starting to really move forward quickly. So
So
it's
did
good.
so Podvader's still there,
Yep.
and of course that's Jay Soderberg. For those of you that don't know, so all of
Yes.
us old school guys, and he is the real
Yep.
Podvader.
He is the Pod Vader. Yes, he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the head of content now for the
Okay.
company. So so of course he was the head of content for Block Talk Radio, so it wasn't like a big change for him.
Okay. Now
Um,
you guys are gonna love this. Let me read this tweet. This was something the social media person at Blog Talk Radio. Who controls it? Is that Who has who was that was that
I'm not sure who that is over there. I think
uh,
it's probably a combination of a couple people. I think it's Jay and I think Amy
okay.
over there.
So here's the post. A new dynamic duel. But if he's the real Pod Vader, does that make at Rob Greenlee the Emperor? No. That's at the Basque. Really isn't a corollary there? Rob Greenlee says, about to go live with the Spreaker Live Show with Pod Vader. A Block Talk Radio, now it's Spreaker. No, Alex, this week something. So anyway, you replied, "I am the Luke Skywalker of Spreaker, as I am am rogue leader of the Rebel Podcaster Alliance with at Geek News." And I just thought, oh my god, Luke. So you are Luke Skywalker now? Oh my god, Rob, you're gonna piss some.
well,
You're gonna piss some Star Wars people off.
well, it was also mentioned that I was the Chewbacca as well
Oh,
in
the
the same
Chewbacca.
thread.
Oh, that's more appropriate. Yeah. That is actually. Oh, dude, you shouldn't have said that.
So I
That's.
just need to grow my beard a little longer, Todd.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I just don't have the guttural voice. I have a
Oh,
deep voice, but not that deep.
oh, that's funny. That's funny. I have a
Yeah.
character in mind for me, but I am not going to announce it because it'll just be um it'll be like, oh god, this guy's got an ego and a half. So
Well, Todd, yeah, be what it is, right?
yeah, that's true. But anyway, so good. The merger's going good over there. That's fantastic.
Yep.
And
So,
it's that has to be so new
yeah,
name, joint
yeah.
company name. What's coming? Anything?
The new company, the new merged company's name is Spreaker Holdings.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna run everything still under Spreaker and Blog Talk then?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Well,
smiled.
Blog Talk Blog Talk Radio is not necessarily going away, but it's not going to be the the lead front brand, as they say. So
Okay.
plus,
How's
there's also another brand that's going to be coming out too.
oh
So
another brand that's gonna come out? Hmm.
well, it's already been out there a little bit, so it's not 100% new. Called it's called Voxnest.
Voxnest.
Yes. Now
VOXNEST.
it existed before the merger, so it was
Uh,
more part of Block Talk Radio.
oh. So this is your advertising arm of these entities.
Yes.
Okay. Anything? Is this going to expand or anything you can say?
Todd, you're being so cryptic here. Is there anything you could say? No. Not quite
Meaning,
yet.
no, you can't say anything. So, huh.
Well, I don't want to get into details quite yet. So,
Generate your RSS feed, migrate from your current provider of the ease, or generate RSS feeds from scratch, reserved unlimited hosting. Hmm. Oh, I see. Uh-huh. All right. Well,
uh,
now you've just opened up a I'm
can of
gonna
worms.
can of worms. I'm gonna have to start digging around. So it's okay.
No, there'll be plenty of time to talk about this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking. Oh, so we. Oh, oh. Hmm.
And
Oh,
you,
good.
and you may not be happy.
Oh, it's okay.
That's okay. It's okay. I mean,
I'm building stuff right now too, so it's okay.
I know you are. We're all building the stuff right now.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Always. Yes.
Well, competition's good. It's always good.
Uh, you know, actually, a lot of these things are usually pretty compatible with our competitors.
Right.
because we kind of take a little different twist than what you do,
Yeah.
and Rob takes a little bit of a different twist on Libsyn,
Yeah.
and so we all cater to our little individual markets, and everybody is kept alive
Yeah.
based on doing that.
Well, another thing too is that, I keep saying that there's a time for injection, and you guys were a little ahead of the gun, or Blog Talk was a little ahead of the gun on programmatic. So
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'm also of the concern, and it continues to be the concern that programmatic is not without challenge and without
Oh,
the
sure.
you know
Agreed.
and there's a hard reality coming to podcasting. I think there's going to end up being 4 tiers of advertising that's going to be available in the space,
Only
and
four?
yeah, I think there's four different sponsor tiers. In other words, kind of money you can get out of a
Yeah.
sponsorship. With the gold standard being host endorsed.
Yeah.
That's the gold, and then everything from there starts downward spiral.
Goes down.
Yeah, it goes down. Yeah, dollar wise.
Though
So
we have seen um, some trend lines that have shown that if done right, it doesn't necessarily have to dive that much.
oh,
I
that's
agree with you. It does dip,
yeah,
and there's really no way to avoid it. It's
yep,
just how steep is the dip is what we're all battling here.
yeah. So if we can keep it 12 to 15 on programmatic at the bottom level, I think we can all jump for joy. If we can keep it at that level, if it goes
Yeah.
much lower than that, then there's gonna be
Well,
significant challenges.
I think where it's propped up and kept higher is based on targeting.
Oh, well, that's probably
So
true too. But then again, when you're
yeah,
targeting, there's not as much inventory, so
that's
you
true.
you trade off.
That's true. That's
You
true.
might as well have gotten 6 and get 100% of your audience, and gotten 12 and been at 20% of your audience,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
15 or
But you're
20.
also gonna gonna be able to tap into a broader range of advertisers too.
Yeah,
So, but you're right. It's the more you splinter your audience into targeted groups, the smaller the individual advertiser buy um, turns out to be.
right.
Yeah.
And it's and then again, it has to end up being self-serve. It can't be the point where that's managed, because when you're at that low of CPM, it costs you more to manage it
It,
than anything
then
else.
it's worth to
Yep.
run the campaign.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like coming in shopping cart and clicking buy, 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 and then it's so. But here's the reality, podcasters, and Rob's already given. We've already discussed what they've got. They're gonna have a programmatic system that buyers can go in and buy podcast, and you take the ads. That's what's coming. And Rob didn't say it, but that's what it is. And ultimately, we'll probably do the same thing. But I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is not without challenge.
Yeah. But it may ultimately be the pathway to scale this business too.
And
So
it's also the pathway
if
for brand
yeah, for
advertising.
brands to come in.
Yep.
Yeah, for
Yep.
brands to come in. What we still need to work on is the creative side,
Right. Oh
and
yeah.
being able to get those folks to be thinking a little differently than they have in the past
The
about how to add content.
the podcasters or the media buyers?
No, the media buyers,
Well, I think
or
there's
well, no, the brands,
oh,
the brands themselves,
well, I
and
think
be more open to letting go of control.
oh, here's just for the podcasters that are listening, and we're gonna have a blog post about this, so this is not anything secret. Um, if you're not if you don't have advertising now, these are the steps that you need to start executing immediately. And I'm serious about this. If you want to have a future where there is going to be advertising in your show that is going to pay you some revenue, and it could be at full scale. It could be anywhere from the
Yeah.
top CPMs down to what we hope is the low line. Number
10,
one,
$12. Yeah.
number one, you need to start running an ad in your show now and
Okay.
practicing this art of
Yeah.
creating an ad in your show.
Yeah.
You need to do this now. Start today. I don't care what you go over to Commission Junction, sign up, find some product that you love, run that as your ad
Yeah.
in your show.
Yeah.
Number two,
You
you need
gotta exercise that muscle.
that's right. Number two, you
Yep.
need to have a sampler ready. 30 seconds before your show, the ad, 30 seconds after the ad, you need to have a sampler ad that you're proud of ready. Number three,
Yep.
you only get good running ads when you're really running ads. So you have to run ads. Okay, that's going back to point number one. And finally, in mentally in your head as you're doing your show, you need to place marker spots in your show saying that'd have been a good spot for an ad. You need to have a little scribble note on your desk or on your table or in your closet, wherever you're recording your show, that says at 10 minutes and 45 seconds, thereabouts, was a good place for an ad. And then when you get done with your show, you go back to that spot and you say, where exactly is that? And is there a couple of seconds in there of a gap where a show can be jacked in, where it could be inserted in? If there isn't, put a little padding in there, make it just a little bit wider, and then say on episode 162 at 10 minutes, 45 seconds, decimal 22.7, that's where I want, if I get an ad in the future, injected in my back catalog. If you do those four things, if you start doing those four things today, you are going to be set up well for the future. But if you don't do those four things, you're going to be 90 days behind a year from now when the programmatic is even hot and heavier. Would Rob, do you agree or
Yeah, I think those are all good points as ways to kind of prep yourself
prep?
for what's coming and give you what you need to be able to just say, yeah, sign me up.
Yep.
Versus
Yep.
I've got to go back and do all this prep on my show, and I
Right.
got to change my scripts, and I got to change my archives, and I got to before I'm ready.
Yeah.
I agree.
Start taking track now. Run a spreadsheet. Have that spreadsheet loaded um, and we're probably going to even come out with some guidelines on some things that you can maybe put in your ID3 tags and stuff like that. And this you don't have to be hosting with Blueberry, and probably you won't have to be hosting with Spreaker or Blog Talk Radio either. But we're all going to be competing for your business, so there is going to be um, or competing for ad space in your shows. Um, so you
Yeah.
don't even need to be relatively even hosting with one of those providers to participate in advertising deals with the way the future's coming and how these technologies are going to be employed. But
That's a little bit of what Voxnest is about.
yeah,
So yeah, yeah,
so um, so Rob, great minds think alike.
yes. Well, you've been in synchronicity for many years here at the Todd.
Yes, we
So
have. So this is coming to the end of the show, but this is probably the most valuable data you're going to get out of the podcast today. Is you need to be prepared for the future for what doesn't exist today, or isn't as readily available today.
or even readily understood in the medium
Right.
today.
And damn, we just maybe we ought to cut this whole section out, Rob. So
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, that
There's going to need to be whole sessions at Podcast Movement on this topic this next year. So it's going to be an important topic to keep talking about.
yeah. So I think from a prep standpoint, 5,000 or so of you know what you need to do now. And so yeah, it's gonna be a fun space. It's gonna be fun. We'll see what happens. And you're gonna keep moving the ball forward here. Because if we do truly grow to $1 billion market, if we get past this 220, 250 mark, um, let's say we go to 500 next year, holy crap, watch out. Do you think we're going to go to 500 next year, Rob?
I don't know. It it's so hard to tell right now
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
I think we're going to hit the
It
220, 250. As a matter of fact, some people think we're
yeah,
already there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
Though I
question.
think if you look at what's happening with the broadcast radio side, um, they're getting billions of dollars. I mean,
Billions,
so
billions, billions.
when does that start to head over to this side of the fence, as they say?
There was something that the mid-roll team put out at. It was a really good comment. Lex had a statement. Damn, can I find it? Oh, I mean, it was like I shook my head. I was doing like this, boing, boing, boing. Yes, yes, yes. What the heck? Was it in the news section? No, I'm in the
Todd,
wrong.
we've got to grow overall audience in the medium. That's how we're going to get there.
Well, I know that,
That's going
but
to create the inventory
but the
that
they he said something about let me scroll up
yeah,
here and see if I can find this. He made a comment to the media buyers that are basically spending money in radio right now
yeah.
on why they need to be in podcasting and what they're missing if they're not. Can I find this? It was really good. I'll be honest with you. Shoots, but it was
I was in
definitely.
a what an article that he was quoted in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I should have
I
had
think it
it.
was probably from last week. Yeah,
It wasn't that. Maybe it was that long ago, but there's so much news that pops into these auto feeds that provide you way back. I don't think it was that far back. Anyway, but anyway, his contention was that who's listening to our shows is a disconnected audience. They're largely they're big time cord cutters. They are listening to a lot of our content. They're not listening to the radio. They're missed. They're a missed demographic. So
yeah,
our listeners are a missed demographic, and they're not here. When I was at my mom's, she had the TV on. We were watching some program, and I was like, "Well, that was interesting." I mean, and she's like, "Well, that ad's been running a year," and I'm like, I didn't know, you know." And I
yeah,
saw some ads on TV that I don't see. I literally I because I'm part of this podcast listening demographic. If I watch TV, it's pre-recorded, and I fast forward through
yeah.
any ad.
Every commercial. Yeah,
Every commercial's fast forwarded, and
yeah.
I don't listen to any of this stuff. And I was like, wow, that was pretty good creative, and I was really kind of like, wow, that was a good ad. And because
Yeah.
when you're in my position, you start like psychoanalyzing this stuff, right? And but I hadn't listened. I haven't watched TV, so it kind of brought to home that he was exactly right. Our listeners are disconnected from the majority of mainstream advertising, and we're
Yeah.
sitting on a gold mine of people that love our shows and want to support us. So anyway,
Yeah.
we're long. Ah,
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to lastly mention before we wrap here that the women gathered this week
oh,
down
that's
in
right.
L.A.
Yeah, I wonder how that went.
for the Work It
Yep.
conference.
Did you tune into any of the sessions?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't know they were even streaming.
Yeah, they were. That was
So,
how they suggested the guys attend.
oh, okay. I guess I missed out on that then.
And
Shoot.
any? Did you hear any rumblings? I saw a few social posts on it.
I don't think did it. I don't think any guys went, right?
Well, I don't know, but I saw a few social postings, basically people talking about it. But I heard really nothing out of the conference itself. Of course, I wasn't following their hashtag. I'll have to go look for their hashtag and see what look at the archive of what they were talking about.
Yeah, I didn't hear a lot about it either, but I'm sure it was a great event
Yeah.
down there.
Hey, just as a reminder before we go here, newmediashow.com/live, we do have a new chat box. It's called Chat Roll. And for those of you that do live stuff, it's a pretty good chat box. So feel free to come over there. I know many of you participate in Facebook as well. But anyway, let's get out of here. You can reach me,
Okay, I know I got to. Yeah,
Todd at blueberry.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at Geek News. Rob?
you can follow me on Twitter as well, or at Rob Greenlee, and you can certainly send me an email, rob@spreaker.com. That would be the place to get a hold of me as well. So
But we want to thank you for hanging out with us today. And as we've shared insider information and lectured and did whatever else we did today. So we definitely appreciate you. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So are you good for next Saturday, Rob?
yeah,
Well, all right,
definitely.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Same time, same bat channel. We'll be back. Again,
All right. Awesome.
everyone, thanks for
Great.
being here. We'll see you next week on the New Media Show. Everyone, take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
I gotta find the button to turn stuff off.